So he was my neighbor a few houses down through Clinton Square. And quiet young man, you know, quiet young man, wasn't troublesome, wasn't bad, but, there was something about him, he would normally hang up uh, two corners away to some other neighbors, who the name or and he would hang in the yard. But for many years, he lived in the community. And leading up to this event, he passed me, within that week, with this knapsack on his back, just to come out of prison, serve some time in prison. And he normally he stopped me because this is what happens to me in the community. Uh, just but basically all the young guys or people in and out of prison, business people from different walk of life, they resonate to me. And they come and talk to me. So he stopped me in that week, and he said something to me, something to me. He said that, wow, he's telling me he's staying in a halfway house. He just get his job, he's trying to change around his life, and couldn't hurt a fly, he was not troublesome in the neighborhood. He wasn't no violent person, so he was no one to really feel threatened by no one. So you really can't judge people by their older appearance. I know that myself personally. So anyway, let me make this story short. He was talking to me, and you could see in his eyes, like, he was disturbed, and he was always talking about the struggles and blah, blah, this, and how tough things is, and he ain't getting one there for him, and blah, blah. This is around the country, what many people are saying. If you listen to the females, they sit down by the bar, they have no future. They're looking for better. Sometimes they talk about their personal life, how many baby daddy they have. I only could listen, and you can't really judge people because, love is love, and we, above the poverty level, we try to find happiness, even though it could be abusive. We try to make it work. In that working, we share noodles and share a cup of tea, share corn. It just, through the struggle, that takes its toll. This is very personal. Because I'm talking for a lot of people in the country, and these females, they just talk, and they talk about, their mistakes and if they could do better, but they don't have no one to really help them, in this country, You talk about the men, but the females in this country really don't have no one to help me, and I think they had more risk than the males. A lot of them are stressed out, have mental health issues in the country. But anyway, Chris was disturbed, And then when I listened, like within the 3 months, investigated girl, aerials. After they put the first suspect, and they said that, they have someone of interest. And after the police further investigation, they found the person they have in custody, after they did proper investigation, found out that this individual is not responsible. And we look at some cameras, and they spot a particular individual to be Chris. Chris was right around here, around the same time when this happened. And his head was down, And like I say, he was there like, when people. So anyway, listening to him getting sentenced, he got 40 years with additional, I think, 15, if I'm correct. So he's serving not just 40, he is serving jail time also for sexual assault and I think rape. And he'll probably rotten in jail. Listening to the young lady's mom, many people was criticizing her. But the one thing I could say, we Bahamians are really, really passionate people. Listening to her story when she was interviewed, she heard Chris apologize to her, and in his plea, he told the jury and those who present how and what he did to young Ariels. And this a part of the agreement. I guess that's why he didn't get the death sentence. And many people said he should get more time. But what he did was he didn't waste the court time. He pleaded guilty. So it saves the court time. By him doing that, he saves space for other cases to happen, brings a quick relief to the family of the victim, knowing that justice was served, even though it wasn't exactly what they really wanted. But I can assure you that prison isn't a place that he isn't going to enjoy himself. He is going to be punished. He's going to be treated badly. And then in a few years, he'll be treating people badly, after he become a veteran. But he already spent a few years in jail before that. You don't know how the prisoners is going to react to him if he's getting abused right now. Then, after a few years of getting abused, he will himself, become a sexual predator in prison. His life would be wasted, and he'd be wasting the lives of some other young kid who would be charged with some type of criminal offense, who goes to prison, will end up in a cell or somewhere in there, And he's not going to come out, okay? He's not going to come out. He's going to die in prison. I heard the mom, she talked, and like I said, many of us was criticizing her. But I say a lot of people is compassionate, and to me, a mom who was hurt, knowing and hearing the circumstances, hearing what the killer said to her, what he did to her daughter. He apologized to her. He told her that he took God out of his life. Listen closely, people. He said he took God out of his life, and he let the devil get in him, and that was not him. And he was sorry, so he explained it. And if she said that when the reporter asked her, how do you feel about the verdict, she said that she hoped he get life. Then she asked her, how do you feel, knowing that, the sentence of 40 years, but it's not actually 40, it's actually, I think, 15 more years added on. So I think he get like 55 years. And she said that when she heard the apology from Chris, that she accepted. The mom accepted it. She said she accepted this apology. Imagine that. And you could see that she was very, very emotional. She wanted to break down and cry. And, she still have love in her heart, So even people, even though we are poor, we don't have no money, we still are rich. So I want to say to a lot of people out there, you might not be over the poverty line and struggling every day, but the little food that you share with one another, that's real love. That's not poverty. That's not poverty. We get some real love out, and that woman, she showed some real love. Ariel's mom, she showed some real love. She said that she accepted his apology. I hope a lot of people understand that she said that in a time of grief, because probably when Chris told his testimony in the court, and she looked in his eye and he looked at her, or it was a letter, she could see, that he put himself in a position where he would never ever again be free. He would become a piece of the crown. The government owns him. His mom don't own him. His father passed away. His family don't own him. He belongs to the crown. So I want to advise all young guys out there and young females out there, make better choices in life. Think before you do something. Because if you look at Chris, he was a quiet boy. Now look with him. His life is finished. Okay? So these bad decisions because of anger, someone influence you to go do something that is wrong. And at the end of the day, man, you do get caught up from the system. And then the police does its job as well, even though we have our views on some issues on some members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. In cases like area, the Royal Bahamas Police Force did their job. We're never going to criticize them for that. And I also like to give them a thumbs up for a job well done. So going on there and doing this investigation and to bring the right person before the courts unto justice. They do an excellent job in these cases. We just have a few bad apples in there who are actually spreading the virus. So even though we have a bad apple in there, they have trained a lot of other officers, right, to do things that are uncharacteristic as police officers. And we have to get the standard back again in the country. So we just need to stop pointing the finger, know that we have a problem, and address it. And in cases like this, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, they do a wonderful job of going there and looking for persons who commit these heinous crimes in the country. If for no doubt. But there are flaws. But when it comes to these type of incident, they be right on cue. So we could give them a thumbs up for that. Like I said, Chris, young kids, listen closely. Think, husband, wives, persons out there, young guys who want to go out there and rob somebody, or think, because there are consequences. Okay? There are consequences. We're going to take this call and then we're going to go back to the show. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside Inner City on Guardian Radio.
They like you, so sound like you're feeling some
Hey.
pain tonight, Scrooge.
Hey.
How you doing, buddy?
Everything good, brother.
Listen here. This whole challenge that our young men face in terms of negotiating from where they are to where they want to be, and the amount of distractions in between, right?
Yes, sir.
And the problem becomes complicated because, we only could go by what our perception tells us.
Yes.
But if there's one of the challenges ahead, your perspective. Your perspective dictates your perception.
Yes, sir.
And if we make an attempt amongst our young men to broaden their perspective, you broaden the guy's perspective. You give him at least 10 to 15 seconds more before he makes a major decision.
Yes, sir.
And that pause can save his life.
Yes, sir.
Now, we have other problems, where you have those who are supposed to be protecting us now. They playing games behind the scenes.
Yes.
I think we our young men got to be careful. I often see us as being in the what they call a neo-colonial framework, and as long as you have a framework, only certain things are supposed to come out of that framework.
Yes, sir.
Only certain things. Only certain people are supposed to thrive inside that. Now, across the entire Caribbean, we see ourselves as being inside a commonwealth of nations, right?
Yes, sir.
And if you are in a nation, you're supposed to exercise some kind of sovereignty. We don't exercise. I think that's a joke. Each 5 years, we pledge allegiance to somebody else. We don't pledge allegiance. Our elected MPs don't pledge allegiance to the persons who elected them. They pledge allegiance to an outside jurisdiction.
Yes.
And the control continues.
Yes.
I think, we need to wake up in terms of who we bowing down to. But, buddy, as always, you talk about what nobody else don't want to talk about. Man, I appreciate you a whole lot, buddy.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm here for. Talk about the invisible stuff that is actually, turning in the light today. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah, and that's what I'm here for, because I've been living inside the inner city, but also I've been with some of the top politicians in the country. Let me just remind the general public, I started in the political scene with my mom, Laurie Brennan. She passed away. I worked with Bradley Roberts for many years with my mom. I worked with the late great Lyndon Penland. If you look on my WhatsApp, you would see on my Facebook files, you would see me getting an award from the Rotary Club of East Nassau, then Governor General Dame Penland, so Lyndon Penland's wife. I've been a part of that family for many years. I had a great relationship with Obi. We were one of the first set of guys on the streets who worked with Lyndon from 91 straight to about 1997, leading up to Perry Christie and Dr. Bernard Nordich, late great Dr. Bernard Nordich, fighting for the opposition leader of the party after Lyndon Penland was stepping down after his second defeat at the polls at the hands of the Free National Movement. His protege won the general election again. That's the Honorable Hubert Alexander Ingram. He was the former Prime Minister of the Free National Movement, and that was Sir Lyndon Penland's protege, as well as Perry Gladstone Christie. And I was there when Sir Lyndon Penland told us, me, Chucky, Kelsey Lundy, Scrooge, down East Street, many of us who was on the streets who Sir Lyndon Penland were training. And that's how I get to where I am now. Because when I was introduced to Sir Lyndon, he resonated to me when we had private conversation as a leader. He was a leader, and I was a leader. And we learned from one another. And I used to be on the side of him at his law office downtown, crossing flowers. So I have a lot of history. I've been trained from the best, and I learned from the best. And I was tying on to Perry Gladstone Christie. So when the PLP won the election, we were the first guys who worked on the ground to achieve that goal. And we took the mantle from Sir Lyndon Penland because we took his leadership. You understand? We helped won that general election. Okay? Because Sir Lyndon Penland told us not to work with Dr. Bernard Nordich. He favors Perry Gladstone Christie. So all the guys on the streets supported Perry Gladstone Christie. And there his popularity began. But as I grew older, we started a lot of programs, gave a lot of ideas, but there was no trickle-down effect, for me. I was always a nationalist. I never looked out for me. If something happened for me, I wanted to happen for the community and the country. And because of that, because of my nationality, and I was outspoken, they were afraid of me, to be helped. And I was bad, don't give them no contracts. But that did not stop me from being an activist, because I saw what we're facing today, because I come from that, and I'm still living in that. Okay, that's why I speak of hospital, because I know the conditions of the people in the inner city who live in Baintown, who live in Campbell, who live in Fox Hill. I know the conditions. I know about our grandmothers. I know about the babies born in. I know about our grandmother sleeping in the hallway in the hospital. You understand? Because my grandmother being there. And when I took her to the hospital and she was laying down Nagani, and the days I went up there, she still was in the hallway. And all she could see was light up on the roof. And I swore to myself, and I saw so many other grandmothers. So they were my grandmothers too. That's how I look at life. So it wasn't just my grandmother, because there were other grandmothers in there. Some were crying in pain, and the nurses themselves were overworked. You understand? They were on the staff. You understand? I looking at these things as a young boy, standing up and asking in emergency. You understand? I understand the situation at the hospital. I know what our people are going through. I know about the inner city community. I know about the police station. I know about the prison. Okay? And let me just say this. Take this from me. As a leader, living in the streets, I'm not going to say what party. I'm not going to do that. When we was on the streets, listen, people. When we was on the streets, we collected voters' cards. Okay? When we was on the streets. From a lot of individuals who was in street gangs. And there were a lot of persons who were of Haitian nationality getting sought out, who were living here a long time. And some of them truly deserve to get their citizenship. All right? But what is going on now is like it's too free and cannot be allowed. All of this is affecting us. And most of these children who you see come from these people who are who are here and they're stagnated, including BMs. A lot of them have mental health issues in this country. Not only the boys, the females have a lot of mental health issues in this country. I can't even talk on my show today. But I had my clips that I was going to play on, but I'm not going to do that. You understand? So I go deep into politics. And when I realize I also work with Brandon Nordich, when he is the Minister of National Security. I worked with Tommy Twancrest for many years, have passed laws, but both of them that were tabled in Parliament. My name were called in Parliament a few times under the Free National Movement Administration. I've had programs with the PLP, helped with the establishment of urban renewal, urban design lab, the Overhill Initiative under Dr. Minnis. I've worked with so many different politicians over the years to help the less fortunate in the city community. So I know the suffering out there, okay? I know the suffering out there. And like I said, our females are going through a very, very serious time. You know, listen, let me ask you all a question. How many people y'all know having mental health issues today because of poverty and causing them to make the wrong decision? NASA don't have no place to go and entertain yourself. NASA has no place where you could go work. You understand? Like it's like through the violence and under development, we don't have no place to go and hang and chill no more, you know, because the fear of crime and the poverty level, no one is thinking out the box no more about how they could create a beautiful environment in the inner city where people could have a green space, parks, a few of nightclubs, you know, could set up in the day where people could go and play dominoes, checkers and stuff. Everything is just run down in Nassau, you know. So that's why I really come on the show and talk these things, you know. And like I say, Chris, you know, Chris was living right around the corner. And like I say, Ariel's mom, you know, even though, like I say, she has a kind heart to accept our apology. How many of us are like that? Poor, yes, tragic, things happen in life, but yet still she's going to take the apology. So I want to, again, remind those who are there, when you get in a little fight, think, please. Okay? Sometimes just walk away. It's hard. Listen, people, it's hard to walk away with an argument because you're going to believe that people are going to say you're soft. Listen, I'd rather be soft than to be in jail or to be dead. Because guess what? You don't have to do nothing to nobody today. That person who bother with you, if they're a troublesome person, and you decide not to take the law in your own hands, and you decide to listen to what God say, vengeance is His, and you allow the person to go over their business, even though they try to take advantage of you. Somewhere down the line, someone is going to harm that same individual. You know, we're going to take this call. Just crazy, man. Go ahead, caller. You're on inside in the city.
That's good. How you doing?
I'm fine. Good night to you, sir.
Okay. What do you think is the problem in our country? Is the politicians or the payment people?
I think it started with the politician and then it passed on to the people.
Okay. It's the people, the payment people.
Mm-hmm.
Who's responsible for all these tiny liquor stores over here and these things? Who owns them?
The government.
Own like a license.
The government is
They
responsible.
own them.
The
They
government
rent them out.
the government is
But they don't
responsible.
complain.
Yes. The government is responsible.
I'm saying to you,
Oh.
payment people owns those the land, payment people own the license.
Yes, I
You
agree.
can't tell me what to do with my license.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
the problem.
Yes,
Who
sir.
the problem with the Haitians and them? Payment people don't work.
That's true,
Haitians
sir.
don't have the problem in this country, you know. They working, all the working.
I agree with you fully.
But we don't want to work.
I agree,
We
sir.
want something for nothing.
Yes, sir.
We want to go to welfare, social service.
Like-
We don't want to work.
What is our spirit is like completely dead, man. I don't understand it, man. You know, when you look at Walter Henschel, when you look at Singing Bishop, you know, people lying up like that, man.
Because they don't want see, let me tell you something. Once it's free, they're coming. They're working and getting the food and things. They're not cooking no more. Why cook? When you go to social service, water Olympics and get free food, get free breakfast. Why work? It's the problem is why work? And you get it free. Some people don't need to go and get it. That's the problem. Where you come from, you got to get in one to look for food to eat. Some of work. That's why the foreigners taking this country because of slackness. They got it too good, and this is they realize these things. We have it too good. That's the problem. You know what the high time is.
Yeah.
That's our problem. And face it, that's exactly what it is. You know, we can't blame the politicians. Blame us, the human people. We causing the problem.
You got to be creative. What you're saying, you got to be creative.
We want. I have a business, and you'll get a chance to rent the bill, chance you on $5 grand, rent the business right away.
Yes.
Rent your life, everything. But
Yeah.
you blame the government. But the Chinese to make money, they stick it together, the spots stick together.
They making millions in those
You need to
spots.
talk to people and let her survive.
Yes.
How to save your money
Yes.
and take care of yourself.
Yes.
That's our problem.
Yes, sir.
You can't blame no politics. No politics is responsible. The Bahamian people is responsible to get in the country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You know, he made a valid point. Like me, I don't wait on politicians. Like I told you, I work with Linden. I work with Perry Christie. I'm the first person brought Hubert Ingram, the Free National Movement in the inner city community. If you check the footage, and you remember Ingram promised one time, because I'm a nationalist, and at the time, Ingram was the prime minister, and he gave a speech on McPherson Park, what we call A Street Park, and that's my headquarters where I do my basketball tournaments and my community events for many years. And he said that if he was elected, you know, Hubert Ingram is a man of his word. He said if he was elected, means if his government won again, that he would have built a lot of low-cost homes in the city community, and I think that would have happened. But they lost the election. You understand? So, like I say, I have a lot of history in this country. You know, not just besides being on the streets. I have made great contribution freely with programs that governments are now using when it comes to crime and inner city development. Many I could point on that I know personally I assisted with, but I don't do it for the clout. I do it because it's for the nation. If I have some experience and some knowledge that can reach in the hands of the powers to be and they could pass as legislation, then why not? Yeah, and I just say, you know, if government also could provide more opportunities in the inner city community, you know what I mean, with the small business, help create environment for small businesses. You know, there are a lot of abandoned buildings in the communities that I see can be turned into many, you're talking about rent-owned homes. We could use some of these abandoned buildings to rent their own. some of these buildings you could turn into small malls and have at least 10 small businesses in there for residents who will qualify for the jobs, because I believe small business can also transform the inner city community. We talk about the boom in tourism industry, but there's no trickle-down effect. We're looking at 11 to 12 million visitors visiting our shores, as the Honorable Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Chester Cooper. But there's no trickle-down effect for us who live in the city community because we live the Bay Street, but yet we don't see no American money. And I think all of this is part responsible for Ariel's killer and what goes on in the inner city community. I truly believe that if a government came in, right, with the community who has the best idea on how we can transform the inner city community, because that's what the urban design lab was for. And then the switch over from the PLP was the urban design lab that I worked with for a few years under the Christie administration. Then the Free National Moon won the election, and the Honorable Dr. Minnis, he switched it from the urban design lab to the Overlay Initiative. But, I got pushed out of that because, this politics, he didn't know I was a nationalist. He thought I was with the PLP. No, I'm a nationalist, I with any party who is going with the plan, because if you look at my resume, this is my third or fourth time serving on as an advisor at the Ministry of National Security under Dr. David Allen and Miss Kiva Bettel, okay? And I do that freely, okay? And I give my ideas and with a lot of persons of distinctive background in the country I be in the room with. And we give ideas and that is passed on to the minister, the same Minister Wayne Monroe, and then if it makes sense, he tables it, put it before Parliament, and then it's passed. We're going to take this next call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City.
Yeah, bless you, Scrooge.
Yes, 52.
Yeah, give thanks. The status of the country is a sad one, right? The latest dubious shooting off Shirley Street in the Camp Road area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And officers involved. But there's two shootings there was another shooting that I was running with people was making noise all about. You remember when the officer was doing his job and he shot the guy who had stopped at the prison officers, right?
Yes, sir. That's on top of the hill, Blue Hill Road, across from Sea Walker.
Well, one of the prison officers is a cousin of mine, the one who died, right? But what I'm saying is, why do people have a problem with that? I didn't get it. Did you get it?
What they had a problem with, you think?
It was because the guy who stabbed him up, the police officer arrested him and shot him, right?
So what they mad with?
But I heard some uproar about that. That is just like how you condone them for doing the job of catching aerial killers. I did likewise the same. The guy stabbed two people. You want the police stand up and let him get away?
Well, the guy killed somebody in the club, so what you want the police to do?
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, in some instances, we have to give the police
yes,
correct.
we do. We do.
Yeah, but then if we're afraid to critique them, that means we living in a police state.
Yes.
Word on the streets is the guy who was killed off camera, I think that's Josie's son.
Okay.
So he would have been the guy who was involved with the shooting of the teacher. Remember, the innocent teacher sitting on the light of Park.
Yeah, a few years ago.
So karma becomes a drama in the Bahamas. But I'll say this, right, Scoozy? The last caller disappointed me in this narrow view, right? Mm. It didn't make sense to me because he's a part of the problem. Anytime you could come on the evidence and say you can't blame the government, it's really short. You're showing you really short-sighted, Scoozy. Because the government could fix the migration crisis by just implementing a few ordinances and a few laws. Number one was the squatting, the Shantytown Act, right? Mm-hmm. So it leaves room for exploitation and for them to really further exploit. They're exploiting the Bahamian people. So you and I would have grown up in the city, right, Scoozy? Mm-hmm. I walked from St. John's College from the 70s down south on Marcus Street for a long period of time before we moved to Battle Avenue. I would have seen the degradation of the inner city. And so you and I would have known that a lot of guys we grew up with have Haitian parents, both mother and father.
That's what I'm talking about, because I grew up with...
People, so here's why I'm saying he made no sense. He made no sense to me. I don't know if he's over 61, but I know a lot of Haitian Bahamian guys, right? They're not working either.
Yeah, a lot.
They're selling half bags. They're wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
So if it's more of them than us in the inner city, why can't it be them also? You see, it doesn't make sense to me, statistics-wise. Most of the people you pass through now, look at them in their face, they of Haitian descent in the inner city schools.
You're right.
So what he's talking about, Bahamians, it's all about exploitation. That's why the Chinese and other people would hire the Asian migrants, because they can pay them less, they can threaten them with papers, they can just exploit them, don't pay national insurance, they can't speak English good. There's a lot of room.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
There's a lot of BS going on. And then for him to see, when you lambast your own people, then you become the problem. You can't just come and say Bahamians don't want to work, because I know Bahamians do are working, but maybe they don't want to work. But I mean,
I understand what you're saying.
There's a difference, Scrooge.
You give a corner to what he's saying. You were saying that most people want to work for their money. The persons who hire them, they want to hire a Haitian for $150, but the Bahamian won't work for $150 because his bill is like $1,000 so he don't want to work for $150. But the Haitian national would work for $150. That's what you're saying.
Scoozy,
yeah.
You and I know that back in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, like we had Haitian friends, we would do construction together.
I don't know where the rest of the Bahamas being living. Hey, I don't know where the rest of the Bahamas being living, but like you said, this was being happening from Norbelac. I told you we had people like that who I grew up with who were here and they had to go get their papers sorted out.
Yeah, but Scoozy, but you and I would have grown up. We never said Norgum for being a Haitian.
No.
We never said, I don't know where this come from, but some people are different.
We was born into this.
Integrated with them.
We was born into this. When I born, I meet them there. I meet these individuals around me in the community. Ain't like I come there and put them there. They was there when I born in Grandstand. When I come to the Princess Market Hospital, I was put in the community. I get to meet these people, parents and stuff like that, who would hail me.
But we didn't have a problem with them then.
No.
We know they don't. Listen to me. Let's be sincere. Me and you know they never used to call the police for us.
No.
And it's to mind their own business.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, right?
We just don't like you said coming in the ships.
And I like how you highlighted the fact that a lot of them are here and they born here and some of them deserve the citizenship.
Yeah.
But what you have to understand, the ones that coming from Haiti, they're much more hungrier.
Yeah, we didn't want them.
I saw a guy just down the road from you on Gibbs.
We don't want them.
Two Asians on a bicycle, one on the crossbar and the other on the seat. They are going to put another and they riding going south. And they put on the lawnmower. So what I'm saying is, they would do these things, whether it's called bananarization or what. But what I'm saying is, they would go and do things that Bahamians wouldn't do. But you see some Bahamians, why are you telling me? I don't know. I know a Bahamian guy who does the same thing.
I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying.
I have a Bahamian guy who does the same work, and I mean, I know a few of them. Yeah. And I know a lot of them who have their truck and then they go around, they do landscaping. But what I'm saying is the set from Haiti and the set from America, they are different.
Yeah, they're different.
The set from America, you can't get them to do what the set from down south will do, because they're already Americanized. You understand what I'm saying? So, but suppose you haven't noticed that?
Yes.
You can't get the set from America to do the stuff with the guys from the South do. And so as you be on the construction side, you will see them do something this, they could be exploited. But I hate to hear Bahamians come on the radio and some boss Bahamians, but they don't want to work in that. That's, for me, it doesn't make sense, because I live in the inner city.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah, so we have to stop that. Yeah. Then you say you can't blame the government. You have to blame the government, because I was told by a teacher at a certain school that if the Haitian migrants wasn't there, the class would be basically empty. So what it means is, because of this burden, we are actually funding things that we shouldn't be doing, and then the government is sitting back, denying the problems with healthcare, social services, education, etc. But then the government is being lackluster in facilitating the growth of public clinics, schools, and hospital facilities, infrastructure, etc.
Yes, because
so when you come on the radio, so you can't blame the government. It's a whole ecosystem of BS, and it shows how narrow-minded some people can be. I just can't say no other word. I have to express myself. Okay. That's what it is. You just come straight across the board, and Bahamians this, and listen to me. Most of the people you see going by Great Commission, you think, all right, I had a friend who I knew for over 20 years. I didn't know she had a Haitian father until she heard the conversation going on one day. She come in. She told me your father is Haitian and mother's a Bahamian. I didn't know that. So I said, but listen, I said, you're a Bahamian. So what I'm saying is that we are all Africans, right, Scoozy?
Yeah, I understand.
And Christopher Davis on the radio talking all kind of things there, right? If we are all Africans, then me and you are stupid for also calling ourselves Bahamians, and they are stupid for calling themselves Haitians. Yeah. Because we are Africans, right? We are all Africans. Are you right or wrong, Scoozy?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
But you bragging about the white man French, and we bragging about the white man English. But ask us how much words we know in Africa, or what do we know about Africa, as far as history-wise. So it's really designed this way, Scoozy, when you can look at the schisms that are being created post-slavery because of slavery. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, who created this? I didn't do this. This is something to be observant.
Yeah.
But why do we have a problem when Bahamians speak about what's going on in their country? And he was talking about sovereignty. The guy before that maybe was talking about sovereignty. But sovereignty, just like the Constitution, don't exist. I asked the question to Naughty on MJ this month today, right? Do you believe, Scoozy, that the government, past and present, adhered to the prerequisite of being here at least 10 years before you grant citizenship or residency? Do you believe they're adhering to that? You believe someone didn't get a citizenship within 10 years, Scoozy?
I can believe so.
Many. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
So
we have to be real within ourselves.
Yes, sir.
For our level of consciousness and our opinions determine what we know and what we think and our external inputs. So it can't be just across the board. You come and make a blatant statement and, it's Bahamian this, Bahamian this, Bahamian this.
Yeah.
Social services, et cetera, et cetera. That's everything goes, Scoozy. Just give time. Keep up the work. But listen to me, Scoozy.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you coming on and describing what's going on in the city. Because you and I know the things that we have seen, nefarious or not, by all parties alike, we can't say on the radio. But I'm just saying that if it was you or I or a civilian who had killed that person in their yard, there would have been more scrutiny. Not saying it's not what the officer saying that happened.
Yeah.
Someone in his yard, and obviously an altercation ensued, way. But you also, what if you have a camera? Did they look at the camera to corroborate? I mean, to corroborate what he's saying? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You go shoot someone in your yard and see what happens. Give thanks, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 52, he's very passionate what he does. He makes a lot of sense. He was responding to the caller who called previous, and the caller, I guess, stated that, vehemence won't work. I understand his point of view, we get laxated, but I think the reason 50 respond is because there's symptoms that led up to us being laxated. 52 is kind of right. He's actually right when he says about government. The caller previous said that government is not responsible. 52 stated that the government is responsible, and just say with 100%, I think he's close to being right. I understand where the caller coming from previous. A lot of people are lazy. The laziness comes in the fact that for 52 years, like Mr. Thompson stated from Global Radio, he stated that we have been neglected. We have selected governments. We've had Celine and Finland for 25 years. We've had the Honorable, Hubert Alexander Ingram, who served 15 years. Then we had Mr. Perry Gladstone Christie, who served 2 terms, not consecutively, but 2 terms. We had Dr. Menace. Now we have we have now Prime Minister Brave Davis. And in that, the rundown of our country when it comes to the development of the inner city, which was given to us. The parcel of land that is in Grandstand. This is a history I got from my history teacher who assists me with the site of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the Grandstand area, the late great Dr. Rita Pratt. She explained to me that the Grandstand community that we reside in is the oldest community in the Bahamas. It's the first community for the free slaves who came from Michael Road. We were given a patch of land. Grandstand is actually older than Baintown. Grandstand was established before Baintown. The free slaves who frequent Grandstand, as the population grew, they move over to Baintown. Okay? Yeah. Whew. So, yeah. So in that community, we had theaters. Where's the movie theaters? Okay, what we had the Capitol Theater. We had all these theaters for entertainment. We had a lot of nightclubs. We had a lot of local bars. We had a variety of different shops on the East Street, Market Street, and Blue Road. I can remember every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, those streets were loaded, were open to so many different Bahamian and people of Jamaican and Haitian descent who were business owners on those scraps of land. There was no lack of poverty, of lack of money in the city community because of the variety of business. They were shopping to one another. You know, understand? If I wanted tomato, I could go down the road. If I wanted my pants to get so, I could go to the Bahamian tailor. I could go to Jamaican tailor. If I want a haircut, I have a Bahamian barber. I have a Haitian barber. If I wanted some fish, I have Bahamian fishermen. If I wanted fruits and vegetables, I go down on the Bay Street. I had Jamaicans, I had Haitians, I had Trinidadians who had various different fruits. You know, I think that the small business is what can change the dynamics of our community. And when 52 was talking about the caller, I think he's making reference to the fact that the poverty level has caused a lot of Bahamian people to not want to go to work because of the cost of living. You know, a person of Haitian nationality coming to the Bahamas, he would work for $150 because that is plenty money to him, you know. But for a Bahamian who was born here, who was voted in the election, and their parents have voted in the election, and they voted for the leaders, they voted for the MPs, hoping that the MPs and the government come up with an alternative solution for their community. There's alternative solutions for these communities. You know, if you look back at the late great Edmund Moxie, what he did, he created a village for his community residents where they could set up small businesses, Jumbe Village. When that was established, we had to live in Bay Street and go way down here to Yellow Gardens in Big Pond. And they were spending American dollars in the heart of the inner city community way down there. So horse and carriage drivers was making money from Bay Street to come way down and giving the tourist tours way down there. And that was a successful investment for that particular community. A lot of Bahamians benefited from that. Okay, why didn't we not keep it? We need to establish those same things again in the inner city community again. All we have to do is properly train our kids, change the mindset of our females and our girls, get them involved in cosmetology, get them involved in art and craft, get them involved in the tourism industry, make it a business, let them use their hands in a lot of trade, let them be barbers and you know, and stuff like that, what tourists needs for those particular areas. And I think that if we could create a lot of volume of small businesses in those particular areas, we'd see a lot of changes, and we would be able to fix a lot of the problems we face today. And again, our females are in trouble, Bahamian people. The females that born these children are suffering. Okay? Kristen had to be in that position, and young Ariel had to be in a victim. You know, we can't stop everything in the country, but if you look at the background of Chris, and if you look at the background of Ariel, she was at disadvantage. Her house was without light. The place where she lived, it had no light, no lighting. The road that she was walking on was a road filled with bush tall as 20 feet, no lighting. So she done at a disadvantage home. Then you get a guy who, in and out of prison, doesn't have the mental capability to see that she's a young girl, but his desire, because he can't deal with a real woman, because he can't go out and deal with a real woman, because a real woman needs things. A real woman needs, she needs grocery. She needs someone to help her with a light bill. She needs someone to put gas in the car. You know, a partnership. And most guys on the streets who are men are not men, and they run from these challenges because they're afraid of that. So they look at a prey, you know, a victim. That's why some poisons, we look at some serial killers or murderers in the country, you'll see they go after old people and go after children. But they ain't never going at somebody who is strong and has two hands, who is strong, you know what I mean, who look, you understand what I'm saying? They always look for the vulnerable, the old and the young. Okay? And they pray. So we have to make a stronger country. We're going to take this call. Go ahead, caller.
Scrooge.
Yes, sir.
How's everything, my brother?
Everything good, sir.
Good. Always a pleasure to make a contribution to your program on Fridays.
Yes, sir.
Let me put a couple things in context here to the best of my ability. Let me ask you this question.
Go ahead, sir.
You mentioned about your time with Celinda and Oscar Finling back in the day.
Yes, sir.
And I can tell you a lot of us was inspired by Celinda back in the day. Yes, the Bahamas was not a perfect country back then, but it showed the possibility and the probability, especially where hope was injected into the Bahamian people and pride.
Yes, sir.
That the Bahamas was going to be a great nation.
Yes.
After 52 years, are you pleased where the Bahamas is right now?
No, sir.
Compared to the pronouncements of the first Clinton administration back in 1973, are you pleased that the Bahamas is the best it can be right now at this particular juncture in our history?
Hell no. Not
Okay.
me. That's why, hell no, that's why I'm fighting, because I see the condition of the hospital, the streets, and the poverty, and the garbage collection not collected on time, people going crazy, coming to me every day. Hell no, sir.
Okay. Well, let's put it into the context that I want to carry this conversation. Back in the day, we were under British rule we transitioned from British rule to Bahamian rule, majority rule in 73 when the Union Jack was lowered and the Bahamian flag was hoisted. And there was a sense of pride with our people.
It was clean, and it
Do
was
you recall
clean.
that?
The area was clean. You couldn't see a can on the road when I was growing up as a young boy. Not a can.
Okay.
Not a garbage.
Now, let me ask you this. Saying that everybody like to bash the white man, what has happened in the past 52 years under black rule? What has happened to the Bahamian people?
More rats, more cars, more poverty. Man, everything. The hospital leaking. Our grandparents who go in the hospital, they be inside the hallway for hours looking up at the bright lights. Man,
And that's what I'm saying here is that we blame the white man for every atrocity under the sun that happens to our black people. But now under black rule, look at the condition of our people. You know.
So what you trying to say?
Growing up in the 60s, 70s, and especially early 80s.
Yes, sir.
There was always the tool that by the sweat of your brow ye bread. It was a meritocracy type of system that was in place for a while, whereas, guess what? You earned your way. Yes, the government would give you a fish, but some persons learned how to gain their own fish instead of looking for the fish.
Yes, sir.
Look at our community, some of our communities, some 52 years later. We still have outdoor toilets. We still have homes without running water. We call this progress. We have got to be joking. And when people like us, who have come up through the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, looking at today and looking at the levels of governance that we've had in this country, and you say that you're satisfied that you're going to defend the level of governance in this country in the manner that it is, and you're satisfied? Hell no. I could close on this 1 point, Scrooge. You know, I from since coming back, and most of the families, well, someone said it adequately today. The majority of families in the Bahamas back in 73, especially with the assurance of majority rule, were PLP homes. Even if the parents didn't say that they were PLP, they supported the PLP.
Yes, sir. Yes,
My angst is that the PLP is the standard bearer of the Bahamas, of the modern day Bahamas. They are charged more than the F&M to protect the Bahamian people, our Bahamian way of life, our culture, and everything.
Yes, sir.
And if they have failed, and I'm telling you, they have failed, I was proudly a PLP. And I put this back at their feet. And this is the best that this country can be. This is the best that our Bahamian people can be. We have minimum wage where we can't even survive in this country, but the amount of visitors to this country and the wealth and the money we're borrowing in this country is so immense that this is the best we can live in this country. Something is definitely wrong. My closing statement here is going to be this. The certain families in this country have benefited in this from the spoils of this country for decades. And everybody is afraid to approach them. Everybody's afraid to touch them. We don't know whether they got their monies, even in politics, the right way or the wrong way, but everybody is like mum's the word. But the second you start to ask the questions, you're either victimized or intimidated. I can tell you this much, until we bring a set of people in here who aren't afraid to go against these giants and bring them to account, this country is not going to change. Because whether you want to believe it or not, whether it is the PLP in power or the F&M in power, the PLPs, those wealthy families are still in power. They're still benefiting. They're still gaining from the financial wealth of this country. Whereas we as Bahamians, the 160,000 of us, out of the 400,000 that's in this country, is still living as if we are paupers, got our hands out, begging, Master, can I have some more? It is totally ridiculous. I do not accept that this is the best that our Bahamian people can live in this country, and this is the best the Bahamas can be. We are a first world country with a third world mind mentality of our leaders, and that's why we are where we are today. Thanks for taking my call, buddy.
Thank you very much. For me, the call is completely correct. For me, listen, you know what they say in the inner city community? Even though I look at the inner city community, do I have a vision? I look at those buildings, I see greatness. I see greatness and how these communities can be developed. I look at those yards, I say, we could wall up this whole corner. We could build garbage bins. These are steps I'm taking, You know, I'm trying to get myself sorted, but I'm still doing this slowly, but slowly. I'm saying, let's build some garbage bins for the people to put their bins in from one corner to the next. That's the kind of programs I'm working on right now. I'm cleaning up the community freely. There are things to develop the community. I have the Martin Luther King site. I'm working on that to see how I could work with government officials to turn it in the museum, working with the family. I have 3 centers up in the community, And I'm always constantly helping people in my community to move trash and to see how I can assist people with either sporting programs, working with Nate the Great in the community. You understand? I'm always on the ground. I work with the Ministry of National Security to give input. Like the caller stated, we are in decay in the country. Listen to me. Our country is in serious trouble, He is correct when he talk about all of the major developments happening in the Bahamas. The amount of overnight visitors, the amount of cruise passengers that coming on the cruise ship, close to 12 million. It's not benefiting the Bahamian people. We have billions of dollars that the PLP government has brought major investment to the country, from Exuma to the Freeport to the Bahamas. We cannot deny that. That is an A+, but again, we are in the inner city community, Camp Road, being in Grandstand, Fort Charlotte, the boss is doing his thing, and other members of Parliament are doing their thing, but I'm saying that the small business is not reaching, okay? Election is coming up, and I'm going to tell everyone, demand something. I don't know. I tell you who to vote for. I can't tell you that. I'm never gonna do that. This is gonna be a tough election. I don't know who I'm gonna vote for. It's gonna be tough. I think it's gonna go to the last minute. I don't know who's gonna win this election between the PLP, the African, and the coalition. There are gonna be a lot of spoilers. This is gonna be a rough election. You can't say who's gonna win this one. This is gonna be a rough one because a lot of people are undecided about who they're gonna vote for. Okay, so I guess to the last minute, So I'm going to tell people, have your plan, what you like to see happen in your community. If you don't have no plan for your community, have some plans for yourself, Have some plans for yourself. Have your private discussion with your MP and the campaign persons who coming around. Don't let the campaign's general fool you, tell you a lot of smoke, right? The time is now, so why is they there? I'm telling you this. Why is they there? Get whatever that is promised. Tell them you like to have it now, or negotiate the best you can, to see if you can get something in return, but also vote for your country and your conscience. I don't know, like I say, vote for your country and your conscience. Some of you might don't have no conscience. Some of you are just starving. And you see, this is why I make it so difficult for people to be bribed out. You wonder why you see some people getting $50 or $100 or getting some bears, like we always say, because the people are poor and they're weak in their mind and they're desperate. So if someone come around from a political party, they notice a silly season in the city community, you don't think they're going to accept it from the DNA. You don't think they're going to accept it from the coalition or the PLP or the FNL. What choice do they have? They know this is the only chance they're going to see these individuals in their mind. So they have this thing now. That's how it is. So they see the politicians and street generals walking around. They want something. But I'm saying, vote your conscience, vote for what's right in the country. But other people ain't looking at it like that. They hungry now, and they need something. So when them captains walking around with these MPs, them people want $500,000, $1,500. Don't sell yourself cheap. I ain't saying this was going on. It happened in my time. But I'm not saying I ask for any money or anything, but that's what some people our intention is. That's the best option you have. There might be some work. I don't know, contract. I don't know if that should still be able to vote for the particular party or whatever. But I know we some of us are going to vote for what's right. Some of us are going to vote for the now. Okay? Some is going to vote for the now. So, and then some is going to vote for the nation. So You know, with Dr. Huberman is going independent. Then we have Sabas and Fort Charlotte, so the Effingham corner with Rick Fox, the Bahamian people, saying who Rick Fox is, but we know we vote for party. We vote for Pentad. We don't really vote for the individuals. I don't know if he could be a Sabas and whatever that is. I guess the Free National Movement think that Rick Fox is going to be a Sabas, Bastian up in that particular area. I don't know. I just don't know. All I know is, for me, I don't see major improvements when it comes to the inner city and people being happy, people being prosperous. Yes, the country itself, the government is doing an excellent job in major investments. But when it comes to empowering people, you get an F from me. Unless I see it. I know what I was doing in the city community, and people like Adrian Fox and Singing Bishop and C.B. Morse, who can't do it no more, and Walter Henschel, and many others out there. I see it with them. I can't never discredit them. You see? But otherwise, for me, seeing major development, knowing that we have a tourism industry, knowing that we have natural resources, and knowing that we don't have no major investment happening in the city with these old abandoned buildings, turning into low-cost homes and etc., homes being repaired. There's been no really. How many people are being moved with the being in Grandstand community into the low-cost homes? Some people being moved with the Foxville area in the low-cost homes. These numbers are low. We want those numbers to increase. We want to see 30, 40 people every year leave with the being in Grandstand area if Mr. Watson's elected again, or whoever the member of parliament is. We want to see low-cost homes be given out in each area, like 20, 30 people from each area. He could be on the farm area. It doesn't matter. We want to see low-cost homes, 1,000 low-cost homes every year, and just give out to each and every 30, 20 people who are qualified in the Bahamas. We're going to take this next call. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City.
Yeah, you get me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I agree 100% with my boy Jeff, man. Listen to me good. You see they just do a groundbreaking for Bahama.
Yes.
The next one. But they ain't doing no big groundbreaking for no houses on Scrooge.
Yes.
You know how much people right now sleeping, got to move back home and their mother sleeping.
Yes. Back so you make a prime example. Would you say that again? How much the groundbreaking was? 150 million or so? How much million?
Well, 700 million, right?
How much?
700 million.
Now, what if we do the same thing with houses, like a 1,000 or 2,000 houses a year, the corner there? Then we making progress. What do you say? Go ahead, brother. Don't let me cut you out. Go ahead.
Because you hear me, people, and then the apartments so expensive. The people, they go on Sky on apartments, 10 cents apartments, it's scarce now. Don't man, people, them going up Sky walking on these apartments.
1,500, 2,500 a month. Sometimes that's just the price what Bahamian people paying now for these apartments.
But the thing with it, right? People them say, oh, you could go to the bank. Go to the bank, you could pay the bank. Man, 10 people ain't qualified.
No.
Don't go to no bank to get a house.
No. There are thousands of people who ain't qualified. Bahamians just don't have it. They just don't have it. That's to show you people are not in touch with what goes on in the city community or what's going on in this country.
You got to come up with 30 grand. You got to come up 30, 40 grand down payment.
Where you get it from? Go rob it.
And hold on. And some people only making minimum wage. You don't qualify. Some people who making way more than minimum wage. You ain't qualified.
Yes, my brother.
Only qualified for $100,000-$200,000. So where you get your house from?
Yes.
And properties them it costing how much is that?
Yes.
So they trying to fool, see, they could fool Bahamian people back, poor back in the day and say, oh, you can pay all the money on rent, but I don't get your house. And you go to the bank ain't give you the house, there's a bank, you get a car faster.
Yes.
You get one of the $60,000 car fast. With no payment.
Yes. And
you understand where I come from?
That's a dead investment.
And that's a dead investment.
Once I leave the law, that don't weigh $60,000 no more.
No.
And that keep on going down lower. Call, you still there?
And the thing with it, you go and say a man go there and say you want a boat. They ain't getting no money, they ain't getting no loans to no boat.
Because they know the investment you could make with that boat. They know you could go on that boat every day if you're serious. You could make yourself at least on $5,000 every time you go on the boat in the week time.
I know. But they give you a little old car, one of them old car thing and all that. Listen to me, because every man around is supposed to have a boat. When we surrounded by water, all of us is supposed to have a boat in our yard.
Yes.
Same here, you go to Dominican and all them different places. Everyone get a boat.
Yes. We become
Some of these guys, we live on the island, and these people, some of these guys, big grown men can't even swim.
We become a concrete, John. We lost our identity. That's our problem. We ran away from who we were as Bahamians. And you're so correct with what you said just now. You're right, my brother.
But the thing with it, we got to go and buy the fake fish, the tilapia and thing and all that means to run. Come on, man.
That make any sense?
That make any sense?
We got the most variety of fishes in the world in the Bahamas. Snappers, groupers, turbot, grunts. Why we got to go to tilapia with this a fish that gets you sick? That make any sense?
Well, the Bahamian people got to wake up and smell the coffee. You know, they just in this election time, they go there talking and thinking and trying to sit down and think what they can vote, what they need to get ripped. I wish they could give me the whip. I should be right with the polls with the whip. So I could whip. I could just feel like it read their mind, so they put it on the wrong. It's just because
I could ask you a question. I could ask you a question. Who do you think you are going to give your vote to if you were going to go? I just saying, like, who do you think? Who you think?
I get off this because I get national. I can say it now. I get with COI.
Okay.
This because I don't see no other.
I understand you. I feel you. I feel you, brother.
I old enough to know what's going on, man.
Okay.
You can't swing me no more because this because you could put a new head on the afternoon on the PLP. The body said cancer.
Yes, sir. It's like the one bad apple. It's like the one bad apple with spread.
That's correct, man. Nothing to change. Don't mind. This because they don't. Everyone, all this boss, everyone spending their money now. When they get in Parliament, they got to go by what's underneath that table.
Yeah.
See, people don't realize, they get the people them underneath the table who controlling who we don't see.
Yeah.
So they cannot put no laws and implement nothing in that because they can march. What they can do, they can march the people underneath the table.
So
all them white knights.
You see, so we get people like who could pull the plug on Clinton Watson, who was supposed to get a nomination to be the member of parliament, but there's some people pulling the strings we said in the party. I understand. There's some powerful people who pull the strings, like you said. Same thing would go to Free National Movement with former member of parliament, former prime minister Hubert Alexander Minnis. He was ousted the United candidacy by the Michael Pence. So there's some powerful people in the country. What you talking to? That's like what you're saying. That's behind the door, Those decisions were made from high, powerful people who me and you might not even know, who were pulling the strings, like you were saying.
It's me good. I get to know what is going on. When who open up people's eyes, Reese Chipman,
Yeah.
He said that he didn't know all these people was underneath the table. Why didn't he resign from the FNM?
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Both parties.
Underneath the table. He see all them people underneath the table.
Yeah, two-party structures like that.
So the Bahamian people need to understand what's going on, man. You can't die poor. You can't die silly.
No.
You know how much people them go into their grave and die poor. He ain't had chances.
Not even own their own house or own their own business. Just continue bills, just kill them to the ground. They pull it for these political parties.
All in life, they wake up.
The roof still leaking. Hey, rats coming through the side because you need some duro. You can't get it. And you vote for the member of parliament.
Hey, you know what I realized?
Yes, sir.
I realized, you can have your fun and everything and all that, but when you get that retirement and you have to go back into the system, you have to join them line. You have to take what's going on. You can feel the things, feel the whip.
Yes, because the cost of living.
People there who are trying to fix the system and never fix the system now. Some of them in the old folks' home even.
Yes. And they, like the Prime Minister says, I read your cost of living. The elephant in the room, I'd read it after you finish call. All right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, man. He made some good points. To all the callers, you guys make a wonderful, wonderful show. We can take these calls real quick. Caller, you made some good sense callers. Caller, at least all the callers, Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside Inner City on Garden Radio.
Yes, Scrooge. Scrooge.
Hey.
You think no matter who you vote for, everything still will remain the same? It all depends on which party you vote for. Things will change.
Let me give you my personal opinion. I think it takes one individual, just like a bad apple, can change things. But it's going to be hard to go into a system to change things when you have a lot of people who are vying for your position, ready to throw a knife in your back because you're doing the right thing. So one person can make the change if they are really dedicated. But the thing is, like, you got to watch a knife in your back. If you watch these parties, what's going on with the two parties, see how much knife can throw in everyone back?
Hey, Switchy,
Yes, sir.
who you think really be running this country? You think the politicians really be running this country?
The richest set of people are the politicians and people who they're associated with, and the Greeks and other people in the country. Politicians are the richest set of politicians are the richest set of people in the country. Or you don't believe me? Let me tell you what they want to be when people do not answer your question. One of these times, maybe people go and walk in town and go by the government house, Parliament, and look behind the door and see all the former parliamentarians who hold the position of members of parliament from the 1900s, and then you get quiet.
Hey, Switchy.
Yes, sir.
You know the irony of all of the election and everything? I mean, no matter which party go in, right?
Hey.
All of them are still, they get them initiated into something else. And that building right down the road from Government House, I understand the blue and white building.
Yes, sir.
Right down the road from Government House. Right on top of there, by the light.
Okay.
A blue and white building.
Yes, sir.
Two-story building.
Okay.
No. Oh. And even if nobody come in, really know, got them, what is the party leader's name?
Lincoln Bean? Yeah. Mr. Lincoln Bean.
Police, right?
Yes.
He's done usher in long time.
Yeah?
He's done usher in long time.
Mm.
Hello?
Yeah.
He done got his couple degrees.
Yeah.
And then,
like I say, petty politics, petty-minded people would stop the progress of the country because they petty-minded. We need people who are nationalists. Once they hold that position, understand that they see that little kid. See, these are things when they say, our leaders don't take serious. You can tell a leader, if you see on the news as a leader, and you see a baby born inside of a car as a leader, on your watch, and you're saying that the cost of living is the elephant in the room, what is going to be your response to that child being found in the car? We found 3 babies being found in the streets of Nassau, I think, recently. Of the Prime Minister, he has a lot of engagement. But do you think, what is more important? You don't think the member of parliament for the area should have been there present instead of news report and have assistance rate there immediately, because that person lived in the car and that baby in the car, that's because the person don't have no place to stay. That's why you don't hear nothing from it no more. Them persons were living in the car, and the baby that got put in the Michael Road, and God bless the young man who found the baby. That baby got dumped there because of negligence. The mother couldn't deal with the fact that there was nothing to feed the child with. The child crying. She can't take it. She ain't got nothing. The little that she have, she got to get for her. So she can't deal with it. So she dumped the child. So if our leaders are not seeing that, then Ariel, who was killed, who Chris got 40 years for, right? She was walking in the area with no lighting. Her house ain't have no light. Her house don't have electricity. But yesterday we wanted to study. We wanted to go to school and be the best you can, right? And then we try to judge the mother. But the mother has a bigger heart than a lot of people, because even though her daughter passed away, this woman still said that she forgave Chris because she heard Chris, she saw him. So it just goes to show you who really cares. When you see those things, you're supposed to be there. You understand? And until I can see a prime minister like that, or opposition leader like that, or a candidate want to be a leader, do things like that. Because it takes nothing to go and do a small gesture and to make sure that that child is taken care of. But then again, you should know that if it happens to one, there are many more. So start to prepare. Have a program in place that say we're starting to work on it. We're going to put some funds there. We're going to start building some low-cost homes and see if we could find a person like that who we could assist to put them in rental one. All these bonding buildings running in these areas from these different MPs, they don't even survey the area and see what is available that could be transformed. Use the taxpayers' money to help improve the living conditions of the inner city community by helping to build up these abandoned buildings and use them for low-cost homes for these same persons who don't have nothing and who are dependent on the government. And that's what we need. We're going to take these 2 calls real quick. Go ahead, caller. You only have a few minutes.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to you, sir, as well, sir.
I am really enjoying, and I'll try to be quick. I grew up when, the UBP was in power.
Yes, sir.
And my mom and those, they were caught up in I'll Fly Away, Oh Glory, and singing all these hymns of hope one day. And I realized while they were doing that, Stafford Sands and those and his friends were stealing all the land.
Wow.
And their focus was not on getting the land. The piece of property my daddy got, he let somebody take it from him because he didn't even realize that he had no deeds with property when he tried to build on it. It wasn't his.
Wow.
So, but what really concerns me, my friend,
Yes,
is
sir.
every politician that you vote for, when they are elected and they're being sworn in, they swear their allegiance to the king or queen.
Yes, sir.
And what we are now saying that's coming through the Epstein files, this current king, he seems to be a part of this pedophilic.
Yes, sir.
It's taking advantage of poor people.
Yes.
But these are the people who our politicians are swearing their allegiance to.
And we had Peter Nygaard over here, and we had Einstein over here too. And our leaders were allowed them in the country to do business right here. So how much our children had these kind of things right here who ain't going unreported?
So, when are we going to come to the point where we are going to challenge them to change that garbage? And they swear the allegiance to the unborn, those
Yes.
who, their successors. Those
Yes.
You don't know whether those who are going to be succeeding them are going to be murderers, but you're swearing your allegiance to hot air.
Yes.
When are you going to swear the allegiance to the Bahamian people? Is that going to ever happen? Because, I really don't feel comfortable voting for someone who is not going to swear allegiance to me.
Why,
So
sir?
why are Bahamians voting for people who are not going to represent them because they have to represent some monarch somewhere in London, and they feel comfortable doing that? Bahamians seem to be duped. Think about that for a minute.
But so you knock the nail right on the head when you really look at it. You're giving your vote to a foreign. When we vote for the politicians swear to the king, and their ties are to the king. They're not swearing to the Bahamian people. You sworn to third.
So, why are we comfortable doing this over and over again, realizing that we are giving away our sovereignty every time we elect? Either PLP, FNM, whoever you elect, they have a constitution that binds them to being controlled by a foreign entity.
Yes, and I think that's our biggest problem right there. I think what has happened, those two parties, they have 50,000 members apiece, and I think right there, they are brainwashed, and they keep the system going, and they use their influence to influence others to vote for that particular party every 5 years and say they're going to do better. At the same time, we are left stagnated and don't know what to do, like how you figured out just now. That's why I say, who you think you're going to vote for this? Yes, sir. Let me just ask.
Who, me?
Yes, sir.
I refuse to take part in this futile.
So you're not
exercise, my friend,
voting?
And I don't
Yes,
care
sir.
who wins. I believe.
Yes, sir.
So but because you know what I would do?
Yes, sir.
If the Prime Minister could find the courage to change Collins Avenue to a Bahamian name,
Yes, sir.
then I will be on board.
Okay.
Because if he ever attempts to do that, he will get a call from London.
Yes, sir.
Hey, behave yourself, little boy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. He has a right to not vote. Let me tell you why he's not voting. Because I always say this. That's what I say. I say if we want to change something in the country, if we're really serious, we have 50,000 PLP or 50,000 FNF. Let us as Bahamians don't vote. That's just don't vote. I think that's the only solution we have. But until then, until we are not ready to vote, until we say we want a better hospital, we want a better monthly salary, we don't want a $250 no more, we want $500 or $1,000, we want low-cost homes, we want our natural resources, we want better pay for our teachers and doctors, we want foreign nurses here as well, we want a lot of community developments, and let all of us not vote. I think that's the only solution we have to show both parties that, we are not interested in them unless they do what we say. And tell them, the caller, the one who called last just now say, people might say, him not voting, he ain't helping. He has a solution. He ain't for the bull crap, so he's staying out of it. Okay, because he feels that nothing has changed. And if a lot of us follow that remedy, I'm not saying we should do it, I'm just saying that's a good remedy, because if you don't vote, it tells something to the general public, it tells something to the leaders that we're not doing the right thing. If you don't start to do the right thing, because that's what I say, a lot of people, that was the lowest voters turnout last election. Okay, the reason why, because just like how our caller was disgruntled, there are a lot of people out there disgruntled who are undecided. A lot of people out there don't know who they're going to vote for, besides the people who are incorporated in the FNM and PLP. You know, best of luck. I support whoever candidate come in the area makes the most sense. You know, as a community leader, I can't tell you who to vote for. I would host a tree of the candidates, but I would not support either one of them. It's up to the people. I would give my vote to the PLP, the FNM, or the coalition, and who I feel, but I'm not going to persuade nobody in my community or nobody on this show to vote for any type of party unless you feel content on doing the right thing. Vote for your conscience, vote for what's going on with the party. If they have corruption, if they've been disrespectful to the Birmingham people, then you vote to get them out. Or if this one here has done something wrong, blah, 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 you look at that and you vote that. But vote for what's right. We can take this last call. Go ahead, caller, real quick. Sorry for taking so long. Caller, you there?
Because it's you, big brother, I decided to wait.
Okay.
And I call more so just to be an encouragement to you, Scrooge. Whenever I have the time in the evenings, on Fridays in particular.
Thank you,
I
man.
like to be able to catch your voice.
Mandela.
Yeah, that's Mandela. Yeah.
Let me say Mandela.
I like to be able to catch you, and I know just be an encouragement to you for the years that you've been putting into being a voice for the common man in the inner city. I always try to encourage you inside that effort, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. We do need to source leaders who truly understand our plight as a people in terms of where we are and how to get us to the next step. I've long said that management and leadership are two different things, and unless you're able to motivate and inspire the Bahamian people, you're not really leading them. You're only managing them from crisis to crisis. And so it is my hope that this coming election, we would understand that the greatest office in a democracy is that of the citizen.
Yes.
We don't have to not vote and deny our democracy in order to have a voice. We can actually, if we come together as a people and decide what it is that we want when people knock on our doors, I believe that in itself is one of the avenues that we can be about changing leadership or impacting leadership in our country on a great way. But if a lot of us just say, oh, my one vote don't matter, or I ain't care, I ain't voting because of this, and all of us just be disgruntled, I don't want us to think for a minute that the people who are elected by virtue of that behavior will say, well, enough of them ain't vote for us, so let's just go back to the polls and see what they say again. No, it ain't gonna work like that. And so I want to encourage as many of us to find something, even if it's the saving grace of our country, find something to be motivated to get to the polls this coming election, and let's demonstrate that our democracy is alive, and that regardless of where we are as a people, we can still be a part of the decision-making to determine where we want to go as a people. And again, Scrooge, hats off to you. I'm always delighted to hear you in the evenings, bro, and it's always a pleasure to call in to be an encouragement and a support to you. Continue to be that voice in the inner city.
Say your full name for my brother, because you come from that background as well, Say your name for the general public.
It's Mandel, Scrooge, Mandel Miller. A lot of people know me, but I like to touch base with people like yourself, the common man who lives around the common man every day and is there for the common man. Yes. I continue to say, I think leaders are speaking over our heads, meaning addressing concerns that don't really impact us on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
But like if you listen, as I listen to you about some of the critical things, where are the leaders that are trying to determine how we're going to help that mother who's going to have
in
the
the car.
same need as that pregnant mother.
Braves, they were supposed to be in there, and opposition Pentat supposed to be in there. They were supposed to.
I don't want to address any personalities about it.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
And I get you.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
But where do we as a people
as
look within ourselves and say to us and say to self, hey, you know what? We need to find some people who are truly about the inherent work that's required to get the Bahamian
persons like yourself as well. Boy, just like you're talking, Rachel, who have a close contact, and the party is supposed to use.
In my opinion, politically in our country, people that have real passion and compassion for our people don't make it to the political forefront by virtue of just having to contend with those that may be more politically savvy or astute than they are. Because people that are focused on people are more focused on people than on politics. And so the people who are focused on politics will seemingly prevail in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
But regardless, we who believe in people and lead people must always understand that we have to stay motivated and encouraged in order to be that beacon of hope. And so, again, Scrooge, I just call and reach out to you because you're a beacon of hope in your community. And so if I can encourage you to do that in itself helps to keep the light shining as we encounter so much darkness as a country. So, again, brother, be encouraged out there. Love you. And let's continue to do what we got to do for our community.
Much love, my brother. Mr. Miller, great community leader, always speaking out. Manuel Miller, young guy just like me. We basically the same age, just been working, trying to get yourself involved with the right set of people. So use that influence to help others, you know. To all the callers, you guys did a wonderful job here tonight. It's all about what our country faces. And tell leaders the crucial issues. Because that baby who was found in the car, remember, I listened closely to the report. Those people ran on the car and leave the baby in the car. Right? Like he was referring to. We need to focus on those things. This is not the Bahamas we want. We can be able to deal with these things in each community because we have an MP for each one of these community. And if we have people like Mr. Miller and like myself who are dedicated towards helping the community and form a good reconnaissance team in that community to know what the problem is, we don't have things like Ariel. I'm not saying that murders are going to stop. I'm not saying that abuses are going to stop, but I can guarantee you we could slow it down tremendously in this country if we put the issue in the right direction. I look at my community that I live. How much murders we used to average there every day. How much shooting we used to have around that community for years and years. So we put it in weight. The community, the church, and a few persons like Nate and myself, Lena and Bahamas, we have brought it down tremendously and seeing development. All we got to do now is continue now to empower with small businesses. We'd see our community continue to get better. So I want to say to all the callers, thank you very much for listening to Inside Inner City. I'm your host, Valentino Brown, host of the talk show Inside Inner City that premieres every Friday at 6 till 8 o'clock on Garden Radio 96 Most Get Choked just now. And I hope you enjoy the show. And we'll see you next week. Love you guys, man. You guys did a wonderful job. See you next week. And enjoy your weekend. And remember, to all the persons out there, you have to make the right decision. Don't do things out of anger. Because you could end up like a lot of persons we're seeing now who are waking up in the police station, committed murder, and now crying and saying they wish they could take that back again. Okay? Don't become the king's pleasure. Okay? Live your life being free and prosperous. Okay? See you next week on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.
Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that coming after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. Way I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up in town, bro. Where I from, in town, bro.